Hey there viewers, it's Charlie, I'm back again, and welcome back to the G1 Marathon. And I'm going to be reviewing a couple of figures today, but I'm going to start off with the Frogbots. Or well, in this case, it's Goldbug and Rollbar. Now, these two are not the only Frogbots. There's also Wide Load, Freeway, Chase, and Searchlight. And as of right now, I do not have them. But, yeah. So, first, let's have a look at Goldbug, who looks rather similar to Bumblebee. Well, if we just read his tech spec, we'll know why. This is when my phone stops working. Function. Espionage Director. To know others, you must know yourself first. Has the mind of the Autobot Bumblebee, but new improved body. That's actually what it says. It should say, but in a new improved body. But, well, continuing. More serious, assertive, I can read, I swear, and mature than he used to be. Realizes what others think of him isn't nearly as important as what he thinks of himself. Excellent fuel efficiency, 2.5 times better than the next best Frogbots. Adaptable to underwater, cold and hot environments. Can withstand temperatures from minus 150 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit. And having a look at his actual text spec, we can see that his strength is 9, intelligence is 8, speed is way down there at 4, endurance is 8, rank is 8, courage is 10, firepower is sadly 1, and his skill is 7. And for the other Frogbat I have, Rollbar. So I can just get this thing to load. So taking a read at this. Function, tracker. When the going gets tough, the tough get driving. Impulsive, loves to take chances and put his life on the line. Speaks in corny, macho cliches, which unintentionally elicits laughter from the other Frogbots. Even from me. Extremely agile in Jeep mode. Can go into flips and rolls with very little loss in speed. Has built-in chemical sensors, radiation detectors, audio and video recorders to assist his tracking. So I'm assuming this guy's supposed to be the Autobot equivalent of Scourge, because remember, Scourge was a tracker. But having a look at his tech spec, we can see that strength appears to be 5, intelligence is 7, speed is 4, endurance is 7, rank is 6, courage is 10, firepower is once again 1, and skill is 9. And that's pretty much it for their tech specs. And as we can see, well, these two are pretty much the same figure, only with different alternate modes. Because as we can see, Goldbug here is a Volkswagen, and Rollbar is a Jeep. So having a look at Goldbug first, I mean, he's pretty simple. I mean, it's supposed to be one of the smaller, more affordable figures. Here we have the rubber sign at the top. And it isn't working because it's getting cold where I live. Because I mean, come on, December's near at the time of this recording. I know eventually in the future when you're watching this, and I know summer, this will become hilarious to you, but as of the time of this recording, December is near, so yeah, as you can see, it's just not working whatsoever. But underneath, there's actually no robot junk underneath. Now for Rollbar, I mean, he's pretty much the same, only he's a Jeep. I mean, he's got a spare tire here. The windows actually show a reflection, making it look like he's in a little, I don't know, a little desert. And with this rub sign, yeah, it's also not working that well. So that's pretty much it for their vehicle modes. Now for their transformations, they're pretty much the same. So for Goldbug, come in here, take the sides of the Volkswagen, fold them up. They're pretty much his arms. Lift this entire thing up. Push that in. And, well, just push that back. And that's pretty much it. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention. These two have a pullback gimmick. So pretty much just pull it. And just let it shoot off. That was faster than I was expecting. And as you can see, I don't know if that was intentional, but he actually did a little turn there. Yeah, hours of fun right there. And for Rollbar, like, I don't know if they do that intentionally, but as you can see, Rollbar sort of veered off to the side there. Just does a little turn and hits the camera because he says he doesn't want to be reviewed. But yeah, that's the pullback gimmick. So if we just get Goldbug back in his robot mode. There we go. Now for Rollbar, pretty much it's the same thing. Just fold out the arms. Get caught on your plastic. You got a hangnail. There we go. Pretty much the same transformation as Goldbug. So if you have any of the other throttle bots like wide load and etc., well, technically you still know how they transform because all the throttle bots have the same transformation. Only my copy of Rollbar sort of leans backward a little bit. I mean, it's because it's an old figure. But yeah, this is pretty much it for the transformation. So having a look at Goldbug. Even though it's supposed to be a new version of Bumblebee, we can see that his head's actually different. As you can see, he's now got a blue-colored head, and he's got a visor and mouth plate instead of his little humanoid face, like back when he was Bumblebee. Aside from that, that's pretty much all I have to say about the robot mode. I mean, it's quite simple. I mean, there's no articulation, there's nothing at the head. I mean, there's nothing at the arms. Of course, the legs can't do anything, so that's pretty much it. Now, for Rollbar, his head, I mean, it looks like he's got like a square mustache around his mouth. Yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks like he's got a square mustache around his mouth. But yeah, he's just like Goldbug. There's nothing at the head. He doesn't do anything. There's just no articulation in these guys whatsoever. So, that's pretty much it for my review of these guys. I mean, complaints? I can't complain. These are small, affordable figures. I mean, I guess Rollbar does tilt back, but other than that, I like these guys. Do I recommend them? Once again, if you're a G1 fan, or if you like 80s figures, because these guys are really cute. I really like them. But if you want them to have more articulation, I mean, with Goldbug, he's been I mean, there have been Bumblebee figures who have been retooled into Goldbug. But for Rollbar, I think right now there's only the Alternators figure, and that's it. There hasn't been any new official, highly articulated throttle bots recently, and I just want to know why. If we can get a new figure, if we can get new figures of Double Dealer, and hell, even and freaking new Micromasters, have we not had new throttle bots in a while? Well, that's it for these guys. But this is not it for the review. If you've seen the original G1 commercials or advertisements, well, the Rollbots were actually advertised with the Duocons, Battle Trap, and Flywheels. Now, I currently do not have Battle Trap, but here, if my phone will focus, is Flywheels. And of course, I have to look at his tech spec. Function, assault team. Believe in yourself, but only if you both agree. Flywheels has a split personality and fights himself more often than his foes. Loser. Each half of him is jealous of the other, often heard arguing with himself, even when unified in robot mode. The tank, this bit, has a maximum speed of 75 miles per hour and a range of 350 miles. The jet, here, has a maximum speed of 100 and, well, actually it's 1,300 miles per hour with a range of 1,800 miles. In robot mode, carries a laser cannon with infrared sensors for heat-seeking capabilities. Of course, I don't have that gun. But looking at his tech spec, here we can see strength is 7, intelligence is 4, speed is 7, endurance is also 7, rank is 6, courage is 8, firepower is 8, and skill is 6. So that's it for his tech spec. Now having a look at the figure. I mean, as we can see, Flywheels is split between two components, a jet and a tank. Let's have a look at the jet first. I mean, there's not really much to say about the jet. I mean, it's not really painted that well. And, well, yeah. He does have a rub symbol, though. Let's see if we can get this one to work. There we go. Well, you can sort of see it there. That's pretty much it for the jet. Now the tank. The tank also has a rub symbol. Here we can see the spring for the transformation. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, here we have a spot where the gun would go. But that's pretty much it for the tank. I mean, these vehicles are pretty basic. So let's have a look at their transformation. Now, these guys have a spring-loaded transformation instead of a manual one. So to transform them, just plop the jet onto the tank, push on, and he just springs up. So if I just show you that again, if I can get this off. So take the jet, just plug it onto the tank, push down, and he just springs up. And here we have Flywheels in his robot mode. And once again, just like the Rollbar, pretty basic, even in robot mode. I mean, the entire back of the jet's just... Well, the entire back half of the jet's just on his back as a little cape. I mean, he's got some big feet because they're the tank treads. He's got a... You should probably censor that. But, yeah. Now, having a look at his head, well, he's got a normal mouth, but he's got a brown visor. In fact, a lot of this is just brown. It's just poo colors. I mean, regular poo and hard, I don't know, bloody poo. If you've had too much Chipotle. But anyways, articulation, yeah, it just doesn't exist. I mean, head, nothing. Doesn't make the legs, obviously, but the arms, yes, he can T-pose. And get this. This is the only bit of articulation he has. His only bit of articulation is T-posing to a set dominance. I mean, that's amazing. But other than that, there's not really much to say about Flywheels. I mean, I guess he can sort of bow down, but... yeah. If anything, the redeeming bit of this figure is the transformation. As I've always loved spring-loaded transformations. They've always been so fun to do. And I think this guy and Battletrop were some of the first one-step changer Transformers ever. Albeit the transformation back requires a bit more steps. As you've seen, just trying to lift up the jet, remove the jet, lift up the tank turret, and just compress them down, and that's how you get it back into its vehicle mode. But yeah, the transformation is my favorite part, honestly. But complaints, well, I mean, the lack of articulation is one, but I mean, you can't blame it. It's a simple figure. But my main complaint is, say you lose one of the two components, like, that means you can't really form the robot mode. You'll just have a weird Decepticon version of either Grand Slam or Rain Dance. But anyway, do I recommend Flywheels? If you're a G1 fan, or if you like 80s figures, as I always say, I know it gets repetitive, but yeah. And if you want a highly articulated Flywheels, go for Skytread from Siege. He's pretty much this guy with way more posability, and he's pretty cool. So we saw that Flywheels' transformation was spring-loaded. Why don't we have a look at a figure with another spring-loaded gimmick? Here we have the Triggercon Ruckus. And once again, it's tech spec time. Function, combat assault. I take a licking and keep on kicking. Okay, good for you. A rolling bucket of bolts. Always looks like he just lost a demolition derby. Willing to take big risks on the battlefield because he's in such a state of disrepair. A deadly, devastating warrior. Adept at ramming his enemies and then running them over. So pretty much he likes Grand Theft Auto. Nail-studded tires can tread over anything. Also able to emit vicious oil slicks that send his enemies into a tailspin. Armed with heavy-duty rocket launchers to fire mercury-tipped explosives. So yeah, pretty dangerous, eh? Now for his tech spec. Excuse me. But well, his strength is 8. Intelligence is also 8. Speed is 5. Endurance is 3, it looks like. Rank is 5. Courage is 10. Firepower is 8. And skill is 7. So yeah, this tech spec characterizes Ruckus as a pretty dangerous guy. I mean, like, even says he's a deadly, devastating warrior. So let's see if the figure reflects that. I mean, as we can see, he's a dune buggy. And his stickers are pretty worn, because of course it's an 80s figure. Of course, he was released after 1988. Well, he's from 1988, and after 87, they just stopped doing the rub symbols altogether. So sadly, there's no rub symbol on this guy. Although, if they still did the rub symbols, I could say they could put one right here. Yeah, they could put a rub symbol right here. Well, that's pretty much all I have to say about the alternate mode, although we do have to show a gimmick. This guy is known as a trigger con, so what does he do? Well, if you press this button, it's not supposed to do that, but there we go. Do you see that? It's just supposed to flip out these cute, sweet guns. But yeah, if you press it too hard, it flips them all the way around. And that's supposed to be for his robot mode. Sorry about that, but yeah, it's just supposed to flip out these little guns. And these are spring-loaded. Only, unlike with flywheels, where it just automatically flips out, this is actually motorized. But yeah, it's actually motorized, so it slowly flips out instead of just automatically flipping out. Now, the trigger bots did do that over on Backstreet, as well as the TriggerCon Windsweeper. They had automatically chrome flip out weapons. But as for the TriggerCons and Windsweeper, for example, this guy, Crankcase, and the Autobot Dogfight, their weapons were all like this. They weren't chrome, and you had to press a button to flip them out. I mean, on Ruckus, this is a complaint. It's easy to push it too far, making it go all the way around, and that can be really annoying. But well, the Transform Ruckus, just flip that out, pull out the vehicle slightly, flip out the front, and then just push those back if you want to. That's pretty much it. Just lift out the arms. If you can even get them, there we go. And that's pretty much it for Ruckus. I mean, well, the Rollbar's transformations were pretty much the battle charges, but manual. And Flywheels' transformation was probably the second easiest. This guy's the easiest by far, because all you do is just flip out his legs and that's it. Granted, we do have the gun as well. I'll show those later. So, robot mode. Yeah, pretty simple. His head. Oh, I mean, it's the head design, so it reminds me of Octane with the three-pronged crown. And, well, articulation, it's just the arms. These just move up and that's it. I mean, the legs are pretty much just fused together. But for the gimmick, as you saw earlier, instead of them flipping up like so, sometimes they just flip all the way around. Well, that's why it does that. It's for the robot mode. So, if we just push this, and now it's doing the opposite of what I want. There we go. It flips over his shoulders. So, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say. I mean, that's the gimmick. It just flips over his shoulders. And to reset it, you just push it back. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Ruckus. I mean, complaints. Well, as you saw in the robot modes, trying to get the little guns out rather than flipping all the way out can be a bit hard. And a bit infuriating. But in robot mode, it's fine. So, do I recommend Ruckus? I mean, what do you think? 80s fan or G1 collector? Because, I mean, this guy is really cool, but, of course, his lack of articulation is not that good. And there hasn't been any new official Ruckus figures at all, from what I can remember. So, you're pretty much, if you want a highly articulated Ruckus, I don't know what you could do. Maybe get a Beachcomber figure and customize it like Ruckus. I don't know if there's any third-party figures of Ruckus, so if you can find a third-party figure of this guy, then maybe go ahead if you want a highly articulated Ruckus. But yeah, this guy's gimmick is quite fun. And well, this is pretty much it for my review on all these guys. Pretty much the budget G1 figures, or pocket money G1 figures. For example, if you were a child back in the 80s who really loved Transformers, but say your parents' budget wasn't that good, or they just didn't allow you to have that many expensive figures. I mean, so say you could never afford Omega Supreme, or Metroplex, or Fortress Maximus, or Scorponok, but you still wanted a Transformers figure, so you could settle for some of these guys, because these were the more affordable figures. And I mean, that is pretty good of Hasbro, releasing some cheaper figures for kids who still wanted Transformers. And they're still doing that to this day. With, I mean, they have the Cyberverse line and the Rescue Bots Academy line, along with the Legends and Core Class figures. So yeah, if you still want affordable Transformers from G1, then go ahead, because I mean, these guys, aside from Flywheels, they have no accessories, so they're pretty much easy to find complete. I mean, with Flywheels, you do have the gun, but that's all you have to worry about. I suppose, like, the other pieces, because you know how this guy's supposed to be 2 alternate modes, but other than that, these guys are really easy to find online, so yeah. But this has been my review on some of the more affordable G1 figures, and this is Charlie Young, signing off.